Alright. Common's I Used to Love Her. I have always really liked this song. It's just something a little bit different, you know. To be honest, if we this is going to be a little bit hard to explain. If we take away the element that separates it from all the other tracks, it's not an amazing track. You know, it's still good. It's decent, but it's not like at this whole new level. You know, I probably wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't for this one element that separates it from the rest. Yeah, it's the beat, the lyricism, and the flow that they're far from groundbreaking. You know, they are still good. It's Common. He's a very talented rapper, but it doesn't really offer anything out of the ordinary, especially at that time when rap was sort of on the brink of eruption as it was. You know, there were a lot of talented people at the forefront, and yeah, I don't think Common really stood out too far from them apart from this one element. Yeah, it's that one element that makes this song really great. Without giving away anything just yet, it does have a little bit of a twist at the end which makes you listen to it again, and I really like songs that do that and movies that do that. Like, there's just this whole other layer going on down here that you weren't even aware about. You were just happy swimming on this top layer down here, and there's like a whole nother one down there that you weren't even aware about. And yeah, I really like that, and yeah, he obviously reveals it at the end. Now, I will reveal it so that we can appreciate the song in its fullest without having to go back through it again, because that's just annoying having to look at lyrics twice if I don't have to. You know, you guys can do it. I don't care about that. I care about my time. It is an old song. It came out in like 94 or something like that, so you should have heard it already, but if you haven't, skip forward 10 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Now, hopefully I can talk quick enough. So the twist he reveals at the end is throughout the entire track. You think he's talking about a relationship he had with a girl, but he is not. He's actually talking about his relationship with hip-hop. I used to love her, H.E.R. Hip-hop in its essence is real. Now, if I'm doing this again, I've always really liked how throughout the entire song he keeps two meanings in check throughout the entire lyrics. He doesn't miss once. And it never gets to a point where it's a stretch for like one of the meanings to make sense. You know, like both of them are up here. Like, here is like understood completely. I know what you mean in both senses. It's never like that where like you know he's saying this, but this one is like, no, every single line, they're both 100%, if that makes sense. It's a very difficult concept to explain. Hopefully I've done a half decent job of it. So he starts out with, I met this girl when I was 10 years old, and what I loved most, she had so much soul. And then goes on to say, she was old school when I was just a shorty. Never knew throughout my life she would be there for me. And then about halfway through the first verse, once he's done setting up the context, that's when he can sort of start leaning heavy into the double meaning. A few New York neighbours had did her in the park. So, you know, she's sort of getting around a little bit. She's making her way around town and sitting on a bone wishing that I could do her. For those of you who don't know, me included until I looked it up, sitting on a bone means to hide one's erect phallus. And then he ends the first verse with, and she was fun then, I'd be geeked when she'd come around. Original, pure, untampered. A down sister. Boy, I tell ya, I miss her. So obviously she's been tampered with now. Maybe those New York fellows in the park had changed her. They did something to her that could not be reversed. I don't know, could get pretty dark there. Or maybe she just didn't stop at New York. You know, maybe she went further than that, and then it was out there where she started getting changed. Like, she may have, you know, got in some entanglements with some people, and yeah, they sort of made some changes to her that, again, could not be changed or could not be undone. I do wish the chorus was a little bit snazzier. It's just a yes, yes, y'all, and you don't stop. To the beat, y'all, and you don't stop. Like, repeated over and over again. But yeah, it's not very long, and then you're back into the juicy verses, and he starts out verse 2 very strong. Now, periodically, I would see old girl at the clubs and at the house parties. So obviously, with age, she's maturing and kind of changing, and the party life is where she's headed. The next lyric I really like. Did a couple of videos and became Afrocentric. Out goes the weave, in goes the braids, beads and medallion. But then he gets into the sadder part of their history together, where they sort of start to drift apart. But then she broke to the West Coast, and that was cool, because around the same time I went away to school, and I'm a man of expanding, why should I stand in her way? She'd probably get her money in LA. And then the third verse, again, is really nice. I'll read out the whole thing, and then I'll go back to just some standout lyrics. I might have failed to mention that this chick was creative. Once the man got to her, he altered her native. Told her if she got an image and a gimmick that she could make money, and she did it, like a dummy. Now I could see her in the commercials, she's universal. She used to only swing it with the inner city circle. Now she be in the burbs looking rockin' dressin' hippie and on some dumb shit when she come to the city talking about poppin' glocks, serving rocks and hitting switches. Now she's a gangster rollin' with gangster bitches, always smoking blunts and getting drunk, telling me sad stories. Now she only fucks with the funk, stressing how hardcore and real she is. She was really the realest before she got into showbiz. I did her, not just to say that I did it, but I'm committed. But so many neighbours hid it that she's just not the same. Letting all these groupies do her, I see the neighbours slamming her and taking her to the sewer. But I'ma take her back, hoping that this shit stop. Cause who I'm talking about, y'all, is hip-hop. So yes, that's right, H.E.R is hip-hop. Hip-hop, in its essence, is real. That's what it stands for. So yeah, she starts out with a lot of soul, then he sees or hears it at parties, and it begins to change. The New York fellows get to her. She gets past the New York fellows into other states or cities or whatever. It gets rid of the weave, brings in the braids. He wants to do it, but it leaves to LA where the money is, which I think is very, very clever. It's still that way. And my favourite line in the whole song is, once the man got to her, he altered her native, told her if she got an image and a gimmick. I think that's a dig at like record companies. And like this is back in 1994. So like what, we're, Jesus, 26 years on and that's still how it is. Record labels are still trying to like change people and say, oh, if you just have this gimmick, you'll get popular. Like you may not last long, but you'll get popular. Like look at, 6ix9ine. He's actually had a longer run than what he should have, I think. But I suppose he just keeps sort of creating controversy, so he has to stay relevant. But if you look at someone else previously, like Kid Boo, you started talking about how he was like a clone or something. Bet it's been ages since you thought of him. Boom Gang as well. He did like the whole lot of gang shit, got like a face just covered in tattoos. Been a while since you've heard of him. That's just how it works. And it was like that in 94. So yeah, it's crazy that it's still relevant. Like I think it rings even more true now than it did back then. But yeah, I think it's a great song. I spoke a couple of weeks ago now about Suicidal Thoughts by Biggie and how it's an experience to listen to. And this one's a little bit different. The first time you listen to it, it's like, yeah, okay, this is nice. Like it's pretty good storytelling. I don't see what the hype is, but it's decent, and there's just like a whole nother story just plugging away underneath. And like, yeah, when the bomb drops right at the end, you're like, oh wait, what? And you listen to it again, you're like, oh my god, oh yeah, I see that, I see that, I see that, I see that. And like, it just opens up like every single lyric all the way, all over again. Yeah, it's once you hit replay that you get that experience. Yeah, absolutely amazing track. Definitely one of my favourite Common tracks of all time. Hopefully I've managed to convince you to have a geese at it. But yeah, so be sure to tune in on, we'll go Friday for my review of Duckworth's Super Good. Should I do that one? Yeah, I'll do that one. Yeah, Friday for Duckworth's Super Good. I'll see you then. That's a wrap.